This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the NSHSS Global Voice Students Series today. Today we are going to be chatting about our experiences with in-person and virtual learning. Hi, my name is Victoria Ramirez and I live in Edinburgh, Texas. I am currently a junior at Robert Vela High School and have been an ambassador for a year now. Michaela, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Michaela, and I'm a junior at Legion Collegiate Academy here in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and this is my first year as a NSHSS ambassador.
Lydia, can you please introduce yourself?
This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the NSHSS Global Voice Students Series. Today we are going to be chatting about our experiences with in-person and virtual learning. Hi, my name is Victoria Ramirez and I am a junior at Robert Vela High School in Edinburgh, Texas. I have been an ambassador for about a year now. Michaela, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Michaela. I'm a junior at Legion Collegiate Academy in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and this is my first year as an ambassador for the NSHSS.
Lydia, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Lydia. I'm a sophomore at Combat High School in Hancock, New Hampshire, and this is my first year as an ambassador.
Thank you for being with us today. So I'm gonna ask a few questions. During the semester, how's your school handling COVID-19? Lydia, would you like to answer that for me, please? Or would you like to put your
Sure. So Combat this year, for handling COVID, we've split into two hybrid groups for town groupings, and that's just them switching between, like, half the kids are at school for 1 week and then the next week they're virtual. And kids also have the option to be all virtual if they don't feel like going to school for that every other week. It's been very productive this year, and we haven't had any cases, and everybody seems to be enjoying the way that it's worked with being able to see some friends, even though they don't get to see all of their friends.
Yeah, that's awesome. My school, we're not really attending. But Michaela, in your school, are you all attending virtually or are you all going in person?
We're actually a pretty small school to start with. There's only about 250 of us, so we didn't really have protocol in place, and this is now our second year open. But I know that about 3/4 of the student is all online virtually now, and the other half is going on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then half of those people are going on Mondays and Wednesdays. So it's like 2 days a week here and there, and the other days they're virtual.
Do y'all think this will be the case next year? Like, if the pandemic's like still going on, I guess. I'm not sure how to.
I think that like this is going to be something that's going to happen for like the rest of our lives. I don't necessarily think it's going to be to an extent this much, but I do believe that more people will start going back to school like regularly as years go on. But I think that like everyone's aware of like public safety and health now, that it's going to be such like a normal thing to like wear masks everywhere, and it's going to like be there for a while.
Yes, I agree. I feel like they're just gonna like implement a lot of wearing masks more often now at school, especially with little kids. I don't know. Lydia, do you prefer in person or virtual?
I personally prefer virtual learning, as I am one of the students who is all remote this year. It allows me to have more freedom with my schedule, and I can work at my own pace instead of feeling rushed from teachers like trying to move quickly. I do miss being at school because I don't see my friends as often, but I do prefer the virtual learning and being at home with my family.
How about you, Michaela?
Personally, I also prefer virtual learning because I have a lot more experience with it because I've been doing like learning on the computer, school, whether it be school or just helping other people. I always am computer tech worthy-ish, if that makes sense. So I prefer the virtual side. And so I was like, oh, we're on virtual now? Okay. It was really a change for me. I was just like, okay.
I personally like in person because like sometimes if we have questions, like we can just go to the teacher and she's there, right? And like virtual, we email the teacher, we have to like wait a while for them to respond. So like that's the only reason why I would prefer in person. But can you please share with us two biggest challenges you have faced during this school year so far?
I haven't really had anything really big, but I've noticed, like personally, but I've noticed with other people, time management is probably the biggest thing that people are struggling with. Is like they can't like virtual students can't push themselves to get everything done on their time. And so it's like, oh, well, this is due, but it's already like gone. Like their due dates are way past what they expected, and they can't really like, and they get used to like being themselves and doing their own thing, so they forget that school even is a thing that's still going on. So that's another problem with being in virtual learning, is it is still school, you just have to remind yourself.
Lydia, would you like to share something that you've faced during this school year?
One of the challenges that I faced and fellow classmates have faced is the feeling of motivation when we're at home and not having a teacher right there to like talk to and be engaged with, and paying attention during Zoom meetings because you're kind of just staring at a mainly blank screen most of the time, which isn't very engaging, which makes it challenging to pay attention during class.
Yes, I can relate to what Michaela says because I'm not me, but like personally, like my friends, they tend to get distracted a lot with technology. You know, technology is like a really big thing right now, and like TikTok and all these apps that they're on, and just because they're saying like, oh, like do whatever in school and do whatever you want, like they tend to forget that they still have assignments. And some kids don't forget, they just have jobs, but they just maybe like um they get they go through peer pressure, and I don't know, I think that that's just like one thing that Lydia, what do you think the school would be like by January 2022?
I definitely don't think that we'll be back to the way that we were beforehand. There's definitely going to be a lot of precautions still in place. Although I do feel like we'll be back to at least almost normal in New Hampshire. Most of our schools have good systems to prevent any outbreaks and good plans in case there is one. So I don't feel like there's much. Or I feel like we'll be almost normal with like some precautions, like wearing the mask even if we're all back at school.
Thank you. Michaela, how about you?
I've noticed personally in my state, we're opening or planning to open a lot more high schools and middle schools. So I think that by January 2022, we'll probably have a lot more like schools in place. Like here in my city, we already have 4 high schools, and we're not really a big city, but I think that it's splitting the students up enough to where we can safely have like social distancing. But I think that a problem that becomes with that is the teachers. We don't necessarily have enough of them to go around. So I think that virtual learning is probably going to become like a permanent option that most students can choose and be like, okay, well, I want to do all virtual. And you can just become a virtual learner throughout your entire high school career. And then I think that by January of 2022, we'll have that option to go fully like in person for like the whole week instead of having to do half and half. But there still will be like safety precautions such as wearing a mask and social distancing and making sure to set appointment times for like tutoring and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know here where I live, although that starting November 9th, the kids are allowed to go back to school if they choose to, if their parents allow them to. Um, virtual learning will still be part of like what they can do. Michaela, what's one positive thing you have seen or would like to see come out of 2020 or in this school year?
Honestly, I just hope that a lot more kids get the education that they need and understand that virtual learning is something that could be a positive thing. They just have to really apply themselves. And I want like a lot more people to like know that virtual learning can be this really good thing and that it's not just like, oh, you're just saying that or you're just doing this as like a last resort thing. No, it can actually really help you if you really try. So I want like hopefully a lot more people to be able to understand that and choose virtual learning if they need it.
How about you, Lydia?
One positive thing that I've seen so far that's happened, at least in my community, is that we've gotten much closer as a community and much more supportive of each other. Even if we can't like physically be with each other, we've done a lot of like online competitions, like pumpkin carving, and we've kind of just come together as a big community and tried to show support to everyone who's been dealing with this and letting people know that they're not alone with what's happening.
Personally, what I have seen is like my professors, they've been really like lenient towards like test. Although it is a college class, we still have to put the same amount of effort as we would attending in person. But sometimes they can be a little lenient, like canceling tests when it's like on the syllabus, and when it's on the syllabus, it's like supposed to be done. So like I'm very thankful for that. What is some advice you might like to give students struggling this year, Lydia?
Some advice that I would give to students for this year and upcoming years is to make sure that you do your work and stay on task during classes, and also to make sure to email your teachers if you have any questions, and like don't be afraid to ask questions during class. And that if you have a question, it probably means that somebody else has the same question that you do, so you shouldn't be afraid to ask the question.
Yes, I fully agree with that because I know sometimes like being at home, like I'm gonna give a little story time. Last week I take an AP bio class, and like I don't know who allowed me to take it because I'm not required to take it, but I just wanted to take it as an extra class. And I was struggling with like a concept, yeah, I think that's how you say it. And I was afraid to ask the teacher, and we had a quiz, and I like did terrible. I did like super horrible, and I emailed my teacher and I was like, "Sir, like I'm sorry I didn't ask for help, but like thank God like he was such a like nice teacher that he actually showed up to tutoring that afternoon and let me retake the quiz." And I was like, "You see, like if you just ask the teacher for help, like they're willing to help you if you just put the effort into asking like, "Hey sir, like I need help with this." And like you just have to be willing to do things and go the extra step. How about you, Michaela?
I completely agree with you, Victoria. Like teachers and professors, like you got to keep in mind that is their job. It is to help you, but they won't necessarily know how to help you unless you ask them and tell them what you need help with. But I mean, specifically for virtual students, I would recommend getting a planner or realizing like, hey, set aside an hour a day for this school, just school in general, just to try and get something done if you're not really like feeling it. And because sometimes we all have that feeling of like, oh, I really don't want to do this right now, but you have to just push through that and realize I have to get this done because this is my education and it is important, even though it doesn't really seem very important right now.
Well, that's all I have for today, guys. Thank you for joining me. It was really nice meeting y'all and talking with y'all this afternoon.
Thank you. I really enjoyed having a conversation with you guys today. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you for hosting this and for asking a lot of great questions.
Thank you, guys.